Get new member deals every week on everyday essentials, tools, and more. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details, subject to change.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Paul George is back in town. The former Clippers star will be in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers and Sixers are meeting up tonight at the Intuit Dome. George signed with the Sixers as a free agent in the summer after playing 5 years with the Clippers. The Clippers won't have to worry about Sixers center Joel Embiid. The NBA suspended Embiid for 3 games for shoving a columnist Saturday in the Sixers locker room. Embiid was upset with Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquirer for a column he wrote about Embiid. The suspension will cost Embiid $1.63 million. The Lakers are at Memphis tonight, final game of a 5-game road trip. The Lakers are 1-3 on the trip. Dodger star Shohei Ohtani underwent surgery Tuesday to repair a torn labrum muscle in his left shoulder. Ohtani hurt his shoulder sliding into second base in Game 2 of the World Series. The Dodgers said Ohtani will be ready for spring training. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Beloved Entertainment and the Miracle Theater Foundation presents Sweet Spot Live with KBLA's own Angelique Francis, Sunday, November 17th. Angelique is live on stage featuring storytellers from the community, colorful and provocative, for us and by us, celebrating our strength and our fire. Come hang out with us as we walk through our neighborhoods, even down our dark alleys, because just around the corner, there's laughter, misplaced miracles, unspeakable pain, and yes, forgiveness. It's all happening Sunday, November 17th, 4 p.m. at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood, 226 South Market Street. Last year, audiences raved. Best show in decades. An unforgettable night. Groundbreaking. Sweet Spot Live was thought-provoking and enlightening. Standing ovations begging for more. Please, more. It was a great night. So back by popular demand, it's Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis. Get your tickets right now at themiracleinglewood.com. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you in the sweet spot. Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, a post-mortem with independent presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West. Anxious to hear his thoughts on his campaign and what the results were last night. And we will talk about those results, of course, in this first hour. But Cornel West joins us live for the second hour today with a postmortem on this race. In our third hour.
How did you become, and I know a little bit about this because I've traveled with you a few places around the world, how did you become such a citizen of the world?
You know, the truth, it's probably because I never had a mother. Yeah. And I made a deal very early. My mother, they took her away in a straitjacket with to 12 languages, Boston University, and they took away in a straitjacket, you know, and we were 7 years old. And the second mother was like precious, you know.
Like the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Monique, you know.
Yeah.
And so I made a deal with myself that if I didn't have one, I was going to use music as my mother. And who knows if I had a proper upbringing, I may have been a sad musician. I'll never know.
Yeah.
I would use music as my mother. Music as my mother. A tribute to Q, Quincy Delight Jones. In our third hour today, I was blessed to spend some high-quality time with Q, both public and private, over the years here in L.A. and, for that matter, around the globe. Surrounded by his family and loved ones, Quincy made his transition Sunday at his home here in Bel Air. He was 91. We will reprise one of my many conversations with Q and hear from some of the folk in his inner circle, including Patty Austin, Saidi Garrett, and Greg Fillinganes. A tribute to Q in our third hour today. But we commenced today's program with a roundtable panel unpacking what we do know and, frankly, speculating on what we don't know. I am pleased to be joined by a crew of regular contributors to this program. John Nichols, best-selling author and national affairs correspondent for The Nation magazine, syndicated columnist and podcast host Ruben Navarrete Jr., poster and professor Christian Sebastian Parker, and noted civil rights attorney and leading public intellectual Connie Rice. I want to play some sound of President Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump, from last evening, and we will jump from there. Miles, sir.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term when we became more and more successful. People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it. Because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump last night. We all know how this ended. Now we get a chance to dissect what we do know, as I said earlier, and speculate, frankly, on what we don't know at this hour. But I've got an all-star panel assembled, and I can't wait to get this conversation started. John Nichols is here. Ruben Navarrete Jr. is here. Christian Sebastian Parker is here. And Connie Rice is here. The good news, and maybe the bad news for some of them, I ain't going to call names just yet, is I got all four of them on tape. They have all been on this program before, and I got tape on all of them. And we're going to go back and unpack what they have said heretofore about what they thought was going to happen and what, in fact, did happen. It's going to be a great hour with John, Ruben, Christopher, and Connie when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SNAP to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
If we ever needed and could use the music of Quincy Delight Jones, today is that day. In all 3 hours of our program today, I hope that Quincy's music might lift your spirits just a little bit as we work our way to our third hour today in tribute to the late, great Quincy Jones. We commence this program right now with John and Ruben and Christopher and Connie. John, I come to you first after I give these numbers that we know at this hour. In the Electoral College, Trump 276, Harris 223. In the Senate, Democrats 42, Republicans 52. Republicans control the Senate. In the House, Democrats 182, Republicans 204. Still time. Not looking so good at the moment for Hakeem Jeffries becoming the first brother speaker. And speaking of speaking, Vice President Kamala Harris will be speaking later today at this hour. Of course, I'm in different time zones in different markets, but as I sit for this live recording of this program, she's expected to speak this afternoon on the campus of her alma mater, Howard University. That said, John Nichols, I come to you first because I told everybody the last couple of weeks, and I told everybody last night, that John Nichols predicted on this very program weeks ago that at some point this race was going to break. He said it will not be as close in the end as it is right now. It is going to break. I just don't know for whom it is going to break. Well, it broke last night, John Nichols. Take the word broke any way you want to take it. It broke last night. You first, John Nichols.
Well, it broke in a whole bunch of ways, my friend. But what I said to you 2 weeks ago in our deep conversation on all this was that there are models in the past that we can look to. This is not entirely unprecedented. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was written off by a lot of Democrats, but at the end of that race with Jimmy Carter, it broke toward Reagan. He didn't just win, but he came in with a whole bunch of senators, but he didn't quite take the House. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to use some historical models there. I don't claim to be prescient, but I was that one of my fears is that something like that would happen. That's where we've ended up. Let me first say, as we begin our conversation here with all these other brilliant folks, I'm a Quincy Jones fan. I'm a soul bossa nova fan.
Oh yeah.
And so I got my areas of love, but I'm so glad you're focusing on him for some of this show because we are going to need the music going forward.
Trust me. So. I'm sorry, go ahead. So Bossa Nova's on our playlist today. It's on the playlist, so we're going to play it over at some point over these 3 hours.
So
go ahead, John. Yeah.
I mean, that is so good. And so let's take ourselves into the politics here. There are 54 House seats that are still uncalled.
Yep.
That's a lot. It's more than 10% of the House. Most of them are on the West Coast: California, Washington, Oregon. There is still a possibility. It's going to be hard work. Those seats have got to break hard for the Democrats. But there's a real possibility that Jeffries could become the speaker.
Sure.
Now, then we enter into a complex area because, as you know, and you're going to talk to Cornel West in the next hour, Democrats don't always do that good a job in opposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when they've got a House. And so for Democrats, there's a couple of things that have to happen right away. They've got to get their act together in the Senate and the House. Whatever power they've got to unite and be focused on that. They can't be mealy-mouthed about this. They can say, "Oh yeah, if Trump does something good, we'll work with him." But boy, we're not going to just roll over for him. There's got to be real clarity there.
Sure.
And then the other thing is, activists have to recognize that. I think a lot of our activists were sort of demobilized during much of the Biden administration. Folks got to get remobilized, and frankly, that's going to take time. But it's got to happen as quickly as possible.
Yeah. For
this reason, if the Senate is relatively narrowly divided, then there is at least the possibility that you can work on a couple of swing senators on a couple of initiatives, not everything, and maybe get that House-Senate combination right to block Trump on some things.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a period on that observation. I'm going to give you one other observation here that I think is important. One of the things that we have learned from where this election went, and we learned a lot of things. Look, first and foremost, race and gender are still fundamental issues in this country, and we ought to take that seriously, as you do always. Number two, economics are fundamental. And the fact of the matter is, I'll give you one quick example that I think sums up a whole lot of stuff. In my state of Wisconsin, Donald Trump won by about 30,000 votes.
Yep.
Bad result in my view. But Senator Tammy Baldwin won as a relatively progressive Democrat by about 30,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
So she ran well ahead of the ticket. What did Baldwin do that was different? She did have some ads on about abortion and things like that. She had a lot of ads on with multiracial, multi-ethnic groups of Teamsters, shipbuilders, other workers, talking about how she had sided with them on saving their pensions, working on trade issues, working to raise the minimum wage, things of that nature. She had a very economic message, with all the rest of the Democratic messages. And I got to be honest with you, I think
that saved the day for her.
Helped.
Yeah. Got it. No, it is to be reckoned with. I hear your point loud and clear. We'll get a chance to unpack a little bit more as we move through this hour. Connie Rice, I come to you now. I thought about you many times last night when I start to see the data roll in that white women, frankly, did not hold for Donald Trump. You said on a number of occasions you thought the issue of reproductive freedoms might be the thing that would hold them. It did not. Connie Rice.
No, it didn't. A whole lot of other things didn't hold either. This was a decisive dark red wave.
Mm-hmm.
It drowned the better angels of progress. And I think that, what's interesting is that, what we did talk about was that, because the old models are broken, that any kind of instrument trying to predict what's going to happen one was going to be right, one was going to be wrong. Well, it turns out Trump's vision is more accurate about the state of the country right now. This is Trump's America. And, what we were feeling is, emerging, but it's not where most of America is. Fear, anger, hate, grievance, and lying are what was working. And so, the things that I noted were 45% of Hispanics voted for him, which is stunning. But he gained in 90% of the 1,300 counties in the country. He gained in the suburbs. He gained everywhere, and the gender gap needed to be 30 points for pro women is only 10. So there was only a 20-point gender gap. I think inflation, immigration, fear, people are angry. They don't see the country the way comfortable elites see it. And that's basically, when you look at the realignment along gender, geography, education, so we're realigning. Race and gender are still important, but there are more prime drivers in the mix now, I think. And so predicting that is hard. But I think that the Democrats underestimated where the country was. I don't think that the problem is with Harris's campaign. She did about as good a job as you could given 3 months. And I think that looking back, you're going to look at the Senate acquittal of Trump when they could have taken him out. You're going to look at Biden's decision to run again and getting out too late. Inflation, Garland appointing special prosecutors too late. And the wrong track numbers were just off the scale. Yeah. So, you take all that together, and even the, crowd size and all the rest of it didn't seem to matter.
Kamala did run a pretty good campaign in terms of tactically. Tactically, she ran a good campaign. We could critique it in a lot of other ways, but tactically, she ran a good campaign. There is a piece today in The Nation where John Nichols works, and the headline simply reads, "This time we have to hold the Democratic Party elite responsible for this catastrophe." So even if you don't want to blame Kamala's campaign, this article in The Nation, which we may tap into, says that this time we have to hold the Democratic Party elite responsible for this catastrophe. Sounds a little bit like Tavis Smiley, doesn't it? Months ago, I told y'all this. I told you months ago on a bunch of different points, which I ain't going to jump into right now, that when this was all said and done, I was going to have a critique of the Democratic Party elite. I told you that months ago. I digress for now. Ruben Navarrete Jr., you are a never-Trumper, and you made that abundantly clear, although you are Ruben in the center. We don't agree on everything. We've been friends for 30 years, but you are a never-Trumper. But I thought of you last night, my friend, because as Connie said a moment ago, 45% for Trump. He picked up 25%. 25 percentage points in the Latino community after he talked about them like they were dogs. He's trashing your community every single day, and he picks up 25%. How's that possible?
Well, it's possible for a couple different reasons. First of all, it's possible because there was a story in the New York Times about the Latino vote about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And they asked the question in a poll just of Latinos that I've been waiting for somebody to ask. And the question went like this. When you hear Donald Trump talking about Latinos as dogs, as animals, how he wants to deport them, do you think he's talking about you or someone else? 80% of Latinos said someone else.
Wow.
The way they perceive, and you, by the way, you hear the same rhythm in the black community. When black folks talk about other black folks, sometimes you think, well, he's not talking about me. This doesn't really apply to me. That's somebody else. And so there's an attempt to differentiate ourselves within our community. It's been there. You and I have known each other forever. I would say, with respect to Ms. Rice, when she says that it's stunning that he got 45% Latino vote, I'd say in my case it's half stunning. I got it wrong. I had him pegged at 40%. I wrote columns that he would get 40%, 39%. I bought into the idea of the Puerto Rican backlash after Madison Square Garden, and I brought my number down to 39%. But 45% was just beyond my comprehension because when you get to 45%, you're better than George W. Bush was with Latinos in 2004. We got 44%. You're better than Ronald Reagan was, where he got 40% of the Latino vote in 1984. And unlike Reagan and Bush, in those cases, you had people who actually respected Latinos, I would argue. We can debate the Reagan policies or the Bush policies, but those are two people who actually went out and were trying to be nice to Latinos when they campaigned to get that vote. And as you said, Trump took the opposite tack. So I couldn't get my head around the idea of 45%.
Right.
I think what you had here, let me just throw some numbers out at you. This was not obviously a blue wave. My Republican friends say it's a red wave. No, it was a brown wave. It was a brown wave. Latinos came out like never before. They were activated across the country. In every single one of the 7 battleground states, Latinos were a presence, and they showed up. Now, unfortunately for me and my vantage point as a never-Trumper, they showed up to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
And Biden got, in 2020, here's a statistic, Biden won the Latino vote by 32 points. In 2024, Harris won it by 8 points.
Yeah.
We can spin that lots of different ways. Here's 3 choices, brother. We can say Donald Trump did something really remarkable, a great accomplishment. He did a lot of things right in getting Latino vote. I don't want to say that. I don't believe that. You could say Latinos are defective somehow. They could take insults and still go vote for the person who's insulting them. Or they differentiate among themselves. Okay, I don't want to go that way. What I want to say is that the Democratic Party took the wrong strategy toward going at Latinos. Kamala Harris's campaign, I would argue with you, was not a good campaign. It's not a good campaign when you don't do interviews with media for 3 weeks, where you take Latinos for granted. You appoint Cesar Chavez's granddaughter as your campaign manager and call it a day. And so this ultimate sense of taking Latinos for granted,
right,
expecting we would be there. Quickly to wrap up here, there was a county, Starr County in Texas, in South Texas. They have voted Democratic in every presidential election since 1896. Last night, Trump won that county in South Texas by 16 points. This is a complete realignment, not one that I'm celebrating or happy about, but there's a whole realignment in my community that the Latino elites, frankly, do not understand. So you can roll out Jennifer Lopez and Ann Navarro and Bad Bunny and Ricky Martin.
Yep.
What Latinos are saying is those people don't speak for us.
They clearly said it yesterday, given the numbers, the level at which they voted for Donald Trump. It would be unfair. It would be unfair for me to ask the question that I want to ask of Christopher Sebastian Parker, professor and poster, and give him just 45 seconds to respond, as others have already had their say. And we'll tighten this up and get more questions out. I just want to give everybody an opening statement, give everybody a few minutes, and they got it. When we come forward, we'll tighten this up again and cover some more ground here. But I do want to give Christopher Sebastian Parker his couple minutes to respond to this question. Can I just say the pollsters got it wrong? Can I just say that all the pollsters got it wrong? And I'm going to ask Christopher Sebastian Parker when we come forward if he remembers what he told me on this program about what Joe Biden would have done had he stayed the nominee. I'm going to ask him if he recalls what he said Kamala was going to do. But the pollsters got it wrong, real wrong. John Nichols got it right. It wasn't even close. I digress for now. I'll let Christopher Sebastian Parker respond when we come forward. It's the day after. Lord help us all on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Brie Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Our election coverage continues with Senator-elects Angela Also Brooks of Maryland and Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware making history. They'll be the first black women to serve in the Senate at the same time. 2 transit referendums appear to have failed in metro Atlanta, Georgia, with nearly all votes in. Cobb and Gwinnett counties have turned down 1-cent sales tax projects to enhance ridership in their areas. Both counties were seeking to improve local bus services. Fulton County, Georgia's district attorney is returning to office. Bonnie Willis won another 4 years in her position in this year's general election. This will mark her second 4-year term in the position after easily defeating Republican Courtney Kramer. And obesity doctors are reporting high demand for weight loss drugs, but say supply and insurance hurdles persist. The list price for a month of Zepbound and Wegovy is more than $1,000, and many insurance companies won't cover it. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows you want to get more value for the holiday. That's why, as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals every week on everyday essentials, tools, and more. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details, subject to change.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Paul George is back in town. The former Clippers star will be in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers and Sixers are meeting up tonight at the Intuit Dome. George signed with the Sixers as a free agent in the summer after playing 5 years with the Clippers. The Clippers won't have to worry about Sixers center Joel Embiid. The NBA suspended Embiid for 3 games for shoving a columnist Saturday in the Sixers locker room. Embiid was upset with Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquirer for a column he wrote about Embiid. The suspension will cost Embiid $1.63 million. The Lakers are at Memphis tonight. Final game of a 5-game road trip. The Lakers are 1-3 on the trip. Dodger star Shohei Ohtani underwent surgery Tuesday to repair a torn labrum muscle in his left shoulder. Ohtani hurt his shoulder sliding into second base in Game 2 of the World Series. The Dodgers said Ohtani will be ready for spring training. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
That is for you, John Nichols. You wanted some soul bossa nova. I told you it was on the playlist. We're playing the best of Quincy Jones all 3 hours today. I was just telling my team, my staff during that break. I was at Q's house one day very quickly, and we walked into his office, and I was asking him a question. And he was answering it. I looked down on his desk, and I saw a check. And, I mean, it was a big check, a royalty check for soul bossa nova that had just come in his mailbox. There it was sitting on his desk, and I teased him about it. He wrote this song in 1962. In 62, Austin Powers shows up, it becomes the theme, and the check started rolling back in. Quincy always told me, you want to make horizontal money and vertical money. Money when you standing up and money when you laying down. Copyrights, trademarks, licensing. That's where the money is. I attribute to Quincy Jones in our third hour today. Just a story there about Q. Christopher Sebastian Parker, I thank you for your patience, sir. The posters got this thing wrong. I want to ask your take on that, number one, and then specifically talk to me about black men, since everybody's talking about and have been talking about black men. But how did the posters get it so wrong? They told us this thing was going to be close. It was not.
Well, thank you for including me. This has been a filibuster conversation, I see. So I will say that the posters got it wrong, and I'm using polite terms, because and I remember coming in your studio and telling you this, if she's tied anywhere, she's effectively losing, right? And that's because Trump supporters are really not well canvassed when it comes to polling, because they don't trust the system. We had this conversation. They don't trust the system. They don't want to talk to pollsters. So guess what? They're not going to answer any questions. They might not even answer their phone or text or email, right? So that's why they got it so wrong. It's because Trump support was vastly underestimated this election cycle, just like it was in 2020, just like it was in 2016.
Black men, talk to me. What happened?
Hey, look, black men and black people showed up like we were supposed to show up. When you say the pollsters got it wrong, this pollster and his firm got it right when it comes to black people. The exit polls show that when it comes to the black community, we turned out as, for Kamala at 88 vote share for her versus 12% for Trump. Right now, you compare that to our polls, like that I reported on this show. Same thing. Like, we nailed it. So that means we got it right when it comes to black men. Like, black men, they voted for Trump at a higher rate, like at about 18 percentage points, right? Which is right where we had it. Now, if you want an explanation for that, like we talked about misogyny, we talked about the cool factor, we talked about the swag factor, right? And yeah, there's a little element of economic anxiety and economic opportunity in there. But one of the things I do want to say in response to what some of the earlier panelists said, that there were a number of factors that have contributed to this. And what I'm here to tell you and them and anybody else that wants to listen is that when we put them into a model and predict vote share, most of those things don't matter. Economic anxiety, class, those things do not matter. They pale in comparison to, to fears when it comes to threat, stuff like that, where the world is. Right. So when it comes to economic anxiety, it doesn't really matter. When it comes to income, doesn't really matter. All that stuff washes out.
So What are you then? Since you're smarter than all the rest of us, what are you suggesting then was the reason for Donald Trump's pretty stunning victory?
Again, it all really centers on look. Think about people think that just because you're a person of color, right, suggests that you're racially progressive, and you don't fear the other. No, just because you're skin folk don't mean you kin folk. You got some black folks that don't like black folks. You got some black folks that don't like Latinos, right? Especially immigrants. So those are the things that matter most. Fear, anxiety, anger, negative aspects, no pun intended, trump everything else generally in those models.
What does it suggest to you then? I've raised this question a number of times over the last few weeks. What does it suggest to you then that that's the new way? Maybe it's the old way, but it's the new way to win in America, to run on fear.
Man, this has been around for forever, right? All Trump is doing is rerunning the same playbook in a different context. It's the same thing. This is a deeply racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, nativist country. Period. It's always worked, and it will continue to work so long as we let it do so.
Yep. All right. Let me ask some other questions here in the time we have left in this hour. If we can just tighten up, I want to get a few more things out. I want to give everybody, again, I didn't like the word respectfully Kristen Sebastian Parker used about filibuster. I don't like that at all. This is my show, and nobody filibusters on my show. I give you time to answer the questions that I give you respectfully, brother. So please don't use the word filibuster. It's not a filibuster. I can control this, and I want to give people time. That's why I do an hour for each subject, to give people time to express themselves as I just gave you respectfully. That said, let me go now to John Nichols. John, right quick here. This is not your article, but it's in The Nation magazine today, and again, the headline is this time we have to hold the Democratic Party elite responsible for this catastrophe. You agree with that headline in your magazine?
Yes. Look, but there's a complexity here, right?
Right.
Because how we describe the Democratic Party elite, right? You can have a very expansive definition of it, or you can have a very narrow definition of it. The narrow definition that concerns me is the money power, right? Our politics is different than it's been in the past. We now have a politics where campaign donors, very, very wealthy campaign donors, have a huge influence on strategy, on where candidates go, how they approach things. And there are times when candidates and their aides, have to wrestle with this reality because the campaign donors are in there, pushing for certain ideas or even running their own campaigns, with independent expenditures, stuff like that.
Right.
I would tell you that going forward, what the Democratic Party needs to do is figure out a strategy for making sure that they've got a set of core messages that they consistently come back to. And I have a lot of compliments for Joe Biden on many issues,
right.
But the fact of the matter is that he often would raise an issue, taxing the rich, something like that, and then not mention it again. And that's simply got to change.
Yep. When we come forward, I want to go to Connie Rice again. I want to ask Connie about these white women that we discussed earlier. I was on the air live last night on our station here in L.A., and one of my colleagues, I'll call her name because she said it on the air last night, Dominique DePrima, one of my colleagues here in Los Angeles made it abundantly clear that no more does she trust white women. She just don't trust them no more. And I want to see if Connie feels the same way about that. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
For older adults in LA County, staying connected is more important than ever. Free Wi-Fi access helps you keep in touch with loved ones, stay informed, and manage your health through telehealth services. Whether video chatting with family, following news, or accessing health info, the internet is here to help. Don't miss out. Find your connection at libraries, parks, and community centers. To learn more about these resources, visit lacountyandU.com. That's lacountyandU.com.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Let's get back to it with Connie Rice. My time is tight. Again, you got four guests on. I want to hear from all of them, and so the time is tight. Connie, I said a moment ago that my colleague last night, Dominic DePrima, said at this point it's hard for me ever again to trust white women. Certainly not politically. Your thoughts?
I think it's a little more complicated than that. College-educated white women came out in droves. Not enough of the suburban women came out, and there was not enough movement with rural women. I think what worked was Trump was right when his message saying abortion can be decided state by state.
Right.
That's what women are doing. So they'll vote for to keep reproductive freedom up, and then they'll vote for Trump too. So he bought their message rather than the Democratic message. And I would just say real quick, Tavis, if you're losing, if you're tied and now have lost to a convicted criminal who lies, like this got liarrhea, you gotta. There's something seriously wrong when his distorted, chaotic, delusional, version of so-called reality. If that is actually more persuasive, then we don't understand not only the country, but the feelings. This isn't about facts. It's about feelings. It's not about the rule of law. They chose chaos. And so all of the stuff that we've got to take a real hard look at where the country is right now and then figure out how to move the country more in the direction that we think is better.
Ruben, your podcast, your very popular podcast, is called Ruben in the Center. You and I both know that Donald Trump is not going to govern anywhere near the center. And you heard him in the clip we played at the top of the hour saying it's time for us now to come together. There can be unity. That ain't Donald Trump's agenda, no matter what he said last night. You know it, Ruben.
That's right. Donald Trump lies about everything, as Ms. Rice said. Exactly right. He lies about it all. And I think one of the things he's lying to his supporters about what he claims to want to do. I don't think he's going to go through with mass deportations. I say that because in 2016, do a Google search, he promised mass deportations. It never happened. He's also said he's against a national ban on abortion. And that angered Mike Pence and some other folks on the religious right. Some folks don't take him at his word there. So ultimately, I think one thing we can all agree on, Donald Trump only cares about Donald Trump. His agenda is about one man. He will do ultimately what's best for him. he's completely disloyal to everybody, including J.D. Vance at this point, who I think should probably hire a food tester because people who sign up to be Donald Trump's vice president tend to have sketchy outlooks.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about Donald Trump, and it will continue to be about him, and really he'll look out for himself. And if it means throwing elements of his own party and supporters under the bus, he'll do it.
Christopher Sebastian Parker, you made a point moments ago that resonates with me. It's a powerful point, and I love the phrase that Connie just used, that this race was clearly not about facts, but it was about feelings. Not about facts, but about feelings. If this race and races in the future are going to be about our feelings in this divided America and not about the facts, how will pollsters ever get it right if people are voting their feelings?
Yeah, that's totally right. First of all, I was just kidding about the filibuster thing, so done with that.
All good.
Second of all, I do think that's a problem. I mean, when I'm talking about affect and affect, that means that is literally the social psychological word for feelings, right? And this is all about negative affect. And this country is always, I shouldn't say often, it's often about fear, anger, and anxiety, and that's what causes and helps Republicans vote far and above or punch far and above their weight class typically, and that playbook has worked, and it's worked essentially since the 1960s and the realignment, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going anyplace anytime soon, Tavis.
Yep. Whatever frame my four guests think that they are in, whatever frame that they feel that they are in today, and it may be different for all four, I want to ask this as the exit question when we come forward and give every one of them a chance to respond. How in the next 4 years are you planning to sustain your hope? How will you sustain your hope over the next 4 years? We'll put that to John and to Ruben and to Christopher and to Connie when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Just 1 minute for each of you. I got a minute left for each of you. I will start with Ruben Navarrete Jr. Over the next 4 years, how will you sustain your hope, sir?
Not in the political parties, I'll tell you that. I think the point's well taken. The political parties do not understand us. They don't care about us. They failed us yet again. What happened last night was a colossal failure, not by a particular group of voters, but by the Democratic Party. So you want to make America solid and better and improve it. Do it in your own communities and do it with your own hands, but don't trust anybody else to do it for you.
Christopher Sebastian Parker, how are you going to sustain your hope, sir?
Thank you. I think right now this is an opportunity for the Democratic Party is clearly broken, and fix it and repair it, and hopefully move it further to the left. That's how I sustain my hope.
Yep. Quick follow-up. How can they, to your mind, push it further to the left?
I mean, they really have to. I think coming out more and more progressive policies, right? And stop sort of trying to hedge, right? Trying to play this middle ground, against the left. I think the middle clearly is not working right now. So our only chance is to move it to the left.
Yep.
And gain more energy.
Yep. That's what progressives have been saying all along, that Kamala's campaign may have been nicely run, but it was too centrist. The Democrats still remain scared of embracing more progressive philosophies. I digress on that. John Nichols, 1 minute, sir. How do you plan to sustain your hope the next 4 years having to cover this guy again?
I'm going to affirm everything that my two colleagues just said, because I think that's vital. There has to be a real change in the Democratic Party, and frankly, there has to be a vision that goes beyond any particular party, that goes to that A. Philip Randolph principle that, there are some things you're going to fight for no matter who's in office, and you're going to do so that those become clarifying issues. And what I'm also going to do is listen to Soul Bossa Nova, keep listening to Tavis Smiley, and I'm going to keep talking to my friend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who didn't just say keep hope alive. He also said put your energy into organizing.
Well, we're going to play a lot more Quincy Jones all 3 hours of this program today as we move toward our third and final hour in tribute to my friend Quincy Delight Jones. Ain't that the best middle name ever? Quincy Delight Jones. The last minute goes to you, Connie Rice. Over the next 4 years, you and I'll be talking as John, Will, and Ruben and Christopher on this program here and there. But how are you going to sustain your hope, Connie Rice?
We always have. Remember now our ancestors. Harriet Tubman didn't give up. What right do we?
Yeah.
More than that. Look, we have to. What we have to do is it's not going left to right. It's telling the story of reverse Robin Hood. $51 trillion funneled up to the top, but it's masked with this incredibly cynical bamboozling of the working class. But you got to get a strong working class upward mobility program and tell the story of why there has to be radical restructuring of our political economy.
Yeah. Somebody just texted me, a friend of mine, and I'm going to go there because I'm going to go there, and it's my show. I asked her, how you going to sustain your hope? And they just text me the first few words of a song I sang my entire life growing up in my little Pentecostal church. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. That's how I'm going to sustain my hope. That's our first hour. I thank all my panelists, John, Connie, Christopher Sebastian Parker, and Ruben Navarrete Jr. Coming up an hour with the independent candidate, Cornel West, to get his reflections on the day after you're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Our election coverage continues with Senator-elects Angela Also Brooks of Maryland and Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware making history. They'll be the first black women to serve in the Senate at the same time. 2 transit referendums appear to have failed in metro Atlanta, Georgia. With nearly all votes in, Cobb and Gwinnett counties have turned down 1-cent sales tax projects to enhance ridership in their areas. Both counties were seeking to improve local